Please turn off your background. So today we have seen the basic element in the your RAM in JRAM and the UTRAN. Based on that, we have to understand what are the network architecture differences came in the 4G. So in 4G, background noise from my side. Everyone getting the noise? Hello?
No, no noise.
Then I think forgetting the issue. Which if my side there will be net issue, then everyone will get the noise. Rishabh, can you check your side and to just wait? Because if there will be any issue from my side, then everyone must have to get the noise. Yes, sir. This is important noise. Okay, I'm disconnecting again. I'm connecting myself. Just a minute. Now, still problem is coming. Still issue is coming. Thank you. So, if you see in LT network architecture, you now RAN has upgraded because as EUTRAN because LT is completely designed for PS services. So we have seen the RAN evolution, JRAN, UTRAN, now it's a EUTRAN. Your handset means UE will communicate with the EUTRAN and the core network is known as here EPC, Evolved Packet Core. So as I said, LT is completely designed for the PS service, for the packet switch service, but does not mean that we cannot use the voice services in the LT network. We can use, but for that we have different solutions that we'll see. Let's CSFB by using the your existing earlier legacy 2G 3G network, or by using the packet switch services for transmission of voice, that is called the VoLT. So that we have different solutions, but for the CS call, LT network does not have any element which will provide the CS services. It's completely designed for the PS services. Now, if you see here end-to-end system, because generally people get confused between the EPC and EPS. So here core network is called the Evolved Packet Core EPC, and this complete system is called the EPS, Evolved Packet Subsystem. More specifically, if you see here, UE to EUTRON with this RAN is actually this technology called the LT. And EUTRON to EPC, this is called the SAE, System Architecture Evolution. Why? Because as I said, in 2G to 3G, the core network was almost same. 3G core network using the existing your GSM and GPRS core network. But in LTE core network, this was completely changed. So the technologies will cover this part. This is called the system architecture evolution. And LTE is mainly only for the air interface, UE to EUTRON. That technology is called the LTE. And this complete system is called the EPS. So that's why in future we'll discuss about the EPS bearer. So EPS means end-to-end, how end-to-end information will be transmitted. So for that we'll see the different types of EPS bearer, but not now. So as we have seen yesterday in 3G means EUTRON, we have these two component, node B and RNC. But in LT, there is no RNC. Your UE and EUTRON is having only E node Bs. No RNC will be available in EUTRON. It will have one or more than one E node Bs, but there won't be any So EUTRON will not have RNC concept here. It will have one or more than one E node B that will communicate with each other through the signaling information. Dot I'm showing which is signaling, and the solid line I'm showing that is the word user traffic information. So during the handover, right now I'm not discussing about the handover. When LT is the handover, that time we'll go in very details. So right now, one thing we can understand here, in the EUTRON, there will be more than one E node B that can communicate with each other by transmitting their signaling information or user traffic information, but there won't be any RNC in LT EUTRON. So why there is no RNC in LT? Because RNC is very important element. Your entire radio resource management task in 3G, if you see your layer wise communications, so node B is actually having only physical layer and some part of MAC layer, some part. But all other layer in 3G means your physical, MAC, other part of then RLC, RRC, PDCP, NAS, all the layers, NAS won't be available in the RLC. Other than NAS means RRC, PDCP, RLC, MAC, physical, all layers will be available in RNC, not in node B. Node B having only simple physical layer and some part of MAC layer. In 3G, MAC layer has distributed between the node B and the RNC. So these entire layers means RRC, RLC, MAC, physical, this is the functionality of RNC. If I am telling RNC is not available in the RAN, so who will perform the RNC task? Because it's a RRC job, RRC layer job, who will perform the radio resource management task. I will tell now what is RRC, RLC, MAC, just within 10 minutes only. So if RRC is not available, if RNC is not available in the RAN, it means all these layers will be implemented within the E node B only. So please listen my point clearly. Physically, RNC is not available in LT, but their functionality has implemented to the E node B. That's why it's called the evolved node B. Here's a node B. Now this node B has upgraded, it's become the E node BY, which entire RNC functionality has implemented to the E node B. So now here radio resource management task in 3G, it was controlled by the RNC, but here in 4G, it's the E node B only who can control the entire radio resource management task over the air interface. Now next question is coming, like why RNC is not available? Because functionality has implemented, but what is the reason why there is no RNC in LTE? Reason is that because, as I said just now, LTE is completely designed for packet switch services. In packet switch services, one thing you know, most of the services transmission are based on the acknowledgement. Whatever the packet will be transmitted, receiver has to send the acknowledgement. That's why you will not see any packet loss, because if you send the mail, you're doing the chatting or browsing, so there won't be any packet loss. Why? Because most of the PS services transmission are based on the acknowledgement. So if sender means your UE sending any packet, UE to node B, then in the your RAN is RNC. If you go into the RNC, then RNC will send the feedback. Then RNC will send the feedback, means acknowledgement, RNC to node B to UE. Then what will happen? It is taking the time from UE to E node B transmission of the informations, then a node B to RNC, because all the user plane protocol is available in the RNC, not in the node B. So then again RNC will send the acknowledgement to node B to UE. But in 4G, as the data rate is higher, if there is no RNC, then what will happen? UE will send the signaling of traffic to the E node B, and here E node B itself only send the feedback acknowledgement, because all the radio resource management, all the user plane, control plane protocol itself available in the E node B only. No need to ask any other entity. It's no need to ask RNC, because there is no RNC here. So this extra round trip time, this additional time will be saved, that will help you to increase the data rate. That's why the physically RNC is not available, but as I said, the functionality wise RNC is very important in the 3G network. So their functionality was implemented to the E node B. Then coming to the your EPC, in EPC again there are so many elements, but our main concern point will be the MME and serving gateway. Why? Because just now within 10 minutes we will see there will be some protocol which will communicate with the MME. In UE will have some protocol which will be used to communicate with the MME. Some protocol in UE that will be used to communicate with the E node B. Whatever the other entity in the your EPC, with that your UE will not communicate. So first of all, we'll see about MME in serving gateway. So UE is communicating with the RAN, means UTRAN, as well as the core network. UE will have some protocol that will use to communicate with the UTRAN and with the EPC. So in LT, what they did, they have separate entity in core network which will handle the your UE signaling information, and separate entity in core network, LTE core network, which will be used to handle the user's traffic information. Separate entity means MME will handle only signaling information. No user traffic information can be transmitted through MME. MME will handle only signaling, your user's signaling information. Obviously, via E node B, directly UE cannot communicate with the MME. UE will communicate with the MME via E node B, but MME will handle only your UE signaling information, only signaling, no user traffic information. For example, suppose any incoming call is coming to your mobile. So for that, it's a MME who will send the paging message to the UE via E node B. Means MME will send the paging message, paging is the layer 3 signaling, to the E node B. Then E node B send the paging message to the UE, so that UE can understand, okay, there is some incoming call or data. So like that, we'll see there are so many signaling procedures, but MME will handle only the signaling procedure, and most important is your registration. Once you switch on your mobile, so your mobile is attaching with the core network, so you can say MME where your device has to register. So MME handle your users mobility related information, registration informations. Only users signaling informations will be handled by the MME, no user traffic information. With one MME, there can be multiple eNode B which can communicate. So here I am showing the two eNode Bs, this eNode B1 and eNode B2. So with this diagram, I wanted to show under one MME, there can be multiple eNode Bs. And again, I said this is not the protocol engineer jobs. With one MME, how many eNode will be there? That's not the people who is working in the Apple. They don't have to worry. In India, in Reliance One Cell, how many eNode B they have to plan? That is the completely planner jobs. Next, if you see about the serving gateway, it will handle the user traffic information, because I saw here solid line means that is the traffic information. So UE can transmit signaling, this dot dot, and the user traffic information. So both information UE can exchange with the eNode B. Means user traffic information is right now, suppose chatting, which is user traffic information that can also transmit it from UE to eNode B. Right now your mobile in idle mode. If suppose your mobile is sending about your tracking area, means your location, that is kind of signaling information that also UE can exchange. So UE can transmit signaling and traffic, both information to the eNode B. Users signaling information will be transmitted to the MME via eNode B, only signaling information. But via eNode B directly it's not possible that UE can transmit their signaling information to the MME. And serving gateway will handle the user's traffic information, but taken via eNode B. So now eNode will transmit. So serving gateway will handle the user's traffic information, MM will handle the user signaling information in the core network. Now, as you've seen, under one MME, there can be multiple eNode B. So MME will cover some radius of the kilometer, say 10 kilometer, 20 kilometer, whatever. Again, once you will move from the one MME area to another MME area. So as here we can observe, if UE can move from one eNode B to another eNode B, there will be handover between eNode B to eNode B. You cannot say it's a BSC. Let's put outside one second. Okay. This you cannot say it's a BSC. You can say it's a BSS. Because BSC means your only base station controller. BTS plus BSC both combined is called the BSS. So here in EUTRAN we have only one entity eNode, means BTS plus BSC both, means frequency management as well as the radio resource management. Generally in your GSM you see BTS do the frequency management, BSC manage the radio resource over the air interface. eNode is combination of both, means BTS plus BSC you can say, or Node B plus RNC, both you can say. Clear, Ankit? So if suppose your mobile have to transmit the signaling information, how your UE to core network will transmit? UE, eNode B, MME. That is the path for signaling information. If user traffic information, then UE, eNode B, you see, eNode B can handle both signaling and traffic both. But in core network, it's a serving gateway which will handle the user traffic information. So eNode B to eNode B, we have X2 interface. Here over air interface, it's a LT-UU interface. It's a general interface between your EUTRAN to EPC, that is the S1. So more specific between eNode B to MME, this interface is called the S1 MME. And eNode B to serving gateway, this is for user plane information, for user traffic information, this interface is called the S1E. Again, If E node B to E node B, user plane information is transmitting, means user traffic information is transmitting, then X to U. If signaling is transmitting, X to C. We will see all the scenarios. When we'll start the NAS layer, your RRC layer, will see there are so many signaling procedure and user traffic information between E node B to E node B and E node B to memory serving gateway. Right now, the stating those elements, their entire functionality, more details with the specific signaling and the traffic information will come, and we'll start the different layers. Now, here, as I said, each MME will have their own radius. How the planner will plan depends upon how many users they will have in any particular location. So once a user will move from one MME area to another MME area, then definitely just like here, if you're moving from one E node B to another E node B, there is again X2 handover. Same way, if your user will move one MME to another MME, there can be S1 handover. So it might be possible that user can move from one MME to another MME, and this interface is called the S10. It's only for signaling. MME to serving gateway interface is S11. Then serving gateway will act as a router which will forward your user traffic information to the PDN gateway. Because this is the entity, please listen clearly. When suppose right now you're, for example, right now using the WhatsApp, gmail.com, you are watching the live cricket match. So it's a network who will allocate the multiple bearers for your mobile for the different services. It network will locate the multiple bearers. I'll go in very details about the bearer, but not right now. Just right now using the terminology. Bearers will be used to transmit your end-to-end informations. There will be some bearers we'll see which will be used to transmit the information over air interface. We will study about the EPS bearer which will be used to transmit the information for us end-to-end session. So it is the serving gateway job who will create the bearer table. Because right now using the multiple services, so if we need the multiple bearers, so it's a serving gateway job who will create the bearer table for the different user depends upon your requirement. Then suppose if your user is right now, as I said, using the live streaming, and suppose plus YouTube. It's a network will decide, okay, on this bearer, these two services is running. Suppose one bearer they given for your using the same time gmail.com and plus WhatsApp chat. Right now, I cannot say details about the bearer, just that will come might in tomorrow class. But right now understand one thing, if when user will use the multiple services, it might be possible that there will be multiple bearers allocated to the users. Bearers you can understand simple. It is used to transmit your end-to-end informations or information between the entities. Just like your carrier, just like a train, which carrying the different types of the passenger. See, if the very VIP passengers, okay, they are going by the Rajdhani train. If suppose goods train carrying the only goods part, passenger train they are carrying only the local city people who is going to their office and all these things. So what to understand, different types of train having the one similar kind of quality of service. We understand in Rajdhani Itni people is going, okay, they are the suppose a rich person. If we are seeing, okay, in the passenger train, okay, we can understand that might be having the people from the working class age. So each different train having their different kind of data, but their own QS. Same thing here, this bearer will maintain different QS compared to this bearer. Why? Because this bearer is carrying the live streaming, obviously with the better QS compared to this gmail.com and WhatsApp packet. So it's a serving gateway who will create this bearer table, but to this bearer table, their QS parameter, again, what is the QS parameter? All those things we'll see when we'll start your NAS layer attached process. That time we'll discuss about the QS parameter. So for different bearers, there will be the QS parameters. what will be the bit rate for this bearer, what is the bit rate on this bearer. So this will be defined by the PDN gateway. Plus your, as I say, LT is completely designed for the PS service, so their IP address will be allocated by the PDN gateway. So it's a PDN gateway who will allocate the IP address, who will create the QS parameter for the bearers where serving gateway has allocated, and then PDN gateway will inform to the serving gateway. I'm just telling right now some basic uses. We will see more details used with the specific signaling procedure related to serving gateway and PDN gateway in the NAS layer. Then your UE is communicating with the PDN. Why? Because PDN is the point with which one UE is communicating with the outside world. With the PDN, there will be multiple, suppose another EPS, another UE, there eNode B, MME, serving gateway, PDN gateway. So there are multiple PDN gateway who can come with this PDN. So one user, suppose chatting with another user. So PDN is the point with which one user can communicate with the outside world. So it's a PDN gateway which will forward your information to the PDN. In LT, there will be three types of PDN. Please listen my point. It's called the PDN type. In LT, there are three types of PDN. First one, internet. Second one, corporate VPN. Third one, IMS network. In future, we'll see these three types of PDN with your LT user can communicate. It might be possible that you can communicate with only one PDN. It's not compulsory that you communicate with all the three PDN. It's possible that you communicate with all three PDN. Might be one, maybe more than one. So there will be three PDN types in LT. Based on this element, they will establish the end-to-end session. Once your UE will register with the PDN gateway, means your end-to-end session will be established. Once end-to-end session will be established, then obviously your data is going from the UE, eNode B, serving gateway, PDN gateway. Then how is this information, end-to-end information is transmitting? For that we'll see the different types of EPS bearer. But bearer will come. First, let's understand your protocol stack architecture. Yes, you can use a different PDN. That I say that depends upon your services or network ability. It might be possible with the internet only they can transmit every information. Suppose there is no VoLT network, then why user will go and register with the IMS? With the internet only entire services will be transmitted, so that we cannot say guaranteed. It will every time use a different PDN. So actually when we'll see in the attached procedure, that time it will be your mobile job and network job. They will inform each other for which UE is capable. Might be possible, suppose, for example, if you are suppose working the Qualcomm and you are developing the chipset for the Reliance handset, because you have seen like a few years back, Reliance also giving their handset, but Reliance cannot develop the chipset. No? So within that Reliance handset is a Qualcomm chipset. So if Qualcomm developer is developing the chipset for the Reliance handset, they understand, okay, this chipset will have only VoLT. We don't want the CSFB core here. We want only VoLT. So obviously that handset will inform to the network. Yes, I am capable with only the VoLT core, not with the CSFB. So in future network will not try to initiate to terminate in a CSFB core. Same way, network have to also inform. As you seen earlier stage, Airtel was not having the VoLTE services, all the call from the only CSLV. So if you have the VoLTE handset, but network is not VoLTE capable, so obviously mobile network will send their capability during the attach process. Then we will understand, okay, what are the periods are available, or network understand with which period on mobile want to register. Because suppose if your mobile want to register with the IMS, means VoLTE, but directly mobile cannot register with the VoLTE. First of all, they have to inform to the MME only. Based on that, MME can understand if this mobile want to register with the 3G for CSAB call, but there is a MME only who will perform the anchoring role. If it's CSAB, it's a MME, they will route to the your 3G services. If it is 4G, it's a MME who will route to the serving gateway, pidgin gateway. So during attach, they will, both party will inform each other. Okay, Abhi? So now, as I said, we have used all this element, but our main concern point is mainly for UE, eNode B, MME for the signal. Serving is carrying only user traffic information, but signaling they are different layer, different signaling information. So our main concern point, as I'm again repeating, your UE, eNode B, MME serving gateway. We are not working to this side. Your PDN gateway, PDN is not required. But in lots of call flow, obviously the signaling will come for the PDN gateway, PDN side. So if you'll see, because this is the network element, as you see on family hierarchies, son, daughter, brother, sister, father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, like this is hierarchy. Same way in the network architecture means we are seeing the element. What are the elements will be available in the LT network architecture? But there is some protocol. How brother is communicating with the sister, and how son is communicating with their parent, and how son is communicating with their grandparents. There is some rule. Same way here, these are the network elements, but how this network element will communicate? Because this your hardware is not doing anything. Within this hardware, there will be some software which will control everything. As I say, suppose your resource will be managed. So how eNode will manage the resource? If I am transmitting the gmail.com, means I need the less resource. If user is watching the live cricket match, he needs the more resource. So how eNode is going? If for this service we give the more resource, for this service we give the less resource, means everything is programmed. Just like your brain, in the different situation you understand how you have to react. So same thing in all this entity, the protocol means that is a wireless software that will control this entire hardware. So now we'll understand the protocol stack architecture, how your UE will communicating with your RAN or the core network. So in protocol stack architecture, this is the wireless software. So if you see the LT protocol stack architecture, so first let's see high level design. This is very important diagram. So your mobile is having the two types of protocol. Core network protocol and the radio protocol. So you is having the two types of protocol, radio protocol and the core network protocol. Then obviously you have seen your UE is communicating with the EUTRAN. and EUTRAN means your E node is communicating with the your MME. So the first class, first topic, we taught STOPDU. That time one thing we understand, two different entity will establish the communication via same protocol. They will communicate with the same protocol, means layer 1 of sender is communicating with the layer 1 of receiver in the same protocol. Layer 2 of sender is communicating with the layer 2 of receiver. Yes, within the same device, we have seen the information is coming from the higher layer to lower layer, means layer 3 to layer 2, layer 2 to layer 1. Means within the same device, two different layers can communicate, but across two devices, they will communicate through the same protocol, through the same layers. It means here, in the your UE, this core network protocol is communicating with the radio protocol. This is very important. If anyone having doubt, please ask me. But it's totally concept dependent from the first topic of your yesterday class. Now, your UE is having radio protocol. It has to establish the communication with the RAN, EUTRAN, means definitely it must have the same protocol. So your EUTRAN will have the radio protocol. One important point, EUTRAN will not have the core network protocol. Why? Because UE core network protocol is used to communicate with the core network. So RAN is not core network. So in core network, it's a MME which will be used to communicate to UE core network protocol. So it's MME having the core network protocol. And EUTRAN is communicating with the MME, that is through the S180 protocol. So if you see here, see peer-to-peer communication. Each entity communicating through the same protocol only. Mobile radio protocol is communicating with the EUTRAN, means E node V radio protocol. Core network protocol of mobile is communicating with the MME core network protocol. Within the same device, they can communicate with the different. But again, I am repeating here, I am showing that mobile core network protocol is communicating with the MME core network protocol, but directly they cannot communicate. Yesterday when I cleared that concept. Here we are showing that layer 3 of sender is communicating with the layer 3 of receiver, but directly they cannot communicate. So same story here, that mobile core network protocol is communicating with the MME core network protocol. It's a protocol. It's a service access point protocol. So between your EUTRAN and MME, this protocol will be used. S1 application protocol that is used to communicate, to establish the communication between your EUTRAN and the MME. Clear? These are all protocols. Now, if you'll see here, again I'm repeating. So, in EUTRAN, there is no core network protocol. Suppose what I'm telling here, directly they will not communicate. Means again, I'm repeating yesterday example. Means suppose, for example, now your mobile have to transmit some information, say info. So how it will transmit, just understand the meaning of protocol. Like I said yesterday, each layer will add their own header. So say core network protocol is adding the header, say C. So which information now will transmit from this higher layer to lower layer? It's info plus C. Say radio protocol is adding the header, say R. Now over air interface, means between UE and E node V, which information will transmit? Info plus C plus R. All this information will transmit over the air interface. Now, here radio protocol is available. So out of this information, radio protocol can understand only R, na? Because here radio protocol, here radio protocol. So radio protocol transmit the R, means receiver radio protocol can decode R. So both parties in the same protocol. But radio protocol cannot understand what is C. Why? Because to decode C, RAN EUTRON must have the coder protocol, but they don't have the coder protocol. So C they cannot decode. Yes, R they decoded. Rest of the information passed to the next entity, info plus C given to the S1AP. S1AP also cannot understand what is C. It will add their own header, say S. So now between E node B to MME, which information will transmit? Info plus C plus say S. Now yes, S who is transmitted, S1AP of sender means RAN. Here receiver having the same protocol S1AP, they understand what is S. Then what left? Info plus C. Yes, now MME having the coder protocol, who can understand what is C. They decode the C, the rest of the information. So this is a very important concept. You don't think it's a second class. This is very important that it is a nice layer. Because in future, suppose I'm giving an example. In future, we'll see your attach procedure. So attach is the your UE NAS layer signaling. NAS layer means the coder protocol. So I'm giving an example right now. Attach will come in here. Then I will start the NAS layer. So attach request actually the NAS layer means the core network signaling. Your UE coder protocol, that is the attach request message. So what we have observed here, the NAS message means this coder protocol message will transmit to the E node B, but how? Within some RRC, within some radio protocol message. See, radio protocol R. Within R is C has encapsulated, because E node B does not have the coder protocol. So how this message will be transmitted to the MME? Via E node B. So we'll see there will be some radio protocol message which will encapsulate this coder protocol message. Then what will happen? Radio protocol, understand radio protocol message, and this encapsulated message will forward to the MME. Why? Because MME having the coder protocol. Same story here. Your if attach request you have to transmit, but that is NAS message that will be encapsulated within the some radio protocol message. So that message is RRC connection setup complete. Right now, please don't try to understand what is RRC connection setup complete. This time showing the proof. This is the radio protocol message. Within that radio protocol message, your coder protocol message, this is encapsulated. As we know that E node B does not have coder protocol, means E node B cannot understand what is attach request. But E node B have the radio protocol, so E node B will understand this message. So what E node will do? E node will keep this RRC connection setup complete, and rest of the attach request message will be forwarded to the MME. But how? Between E node B to MME, there should be some S1AP message. Within that S1AP message, this S message, within that this C has forwarded. So that S1AP message is initial UE message, and within that same attach request has now forwarded. Now MME understand what is attach request, because MME having the coordinated protocol. So that will see when I'll teach the NAS layer. But I'm giving this example. What I'm telling you right now, this is very much important. And RAN is not having the, your EUTRON is not having the coordinated protocol. So EUTRON will remain transparent for the your UE core network protocol. Transparent means whatever information your UE core protocol is transmitting, that EUTRON will bypass as it is. They cannot decode. I hope that high level design is clear. Based on this high level design, now we'll see the low level design. Now we'll see exactly in the radio protocol, as we see the radio protocol of UE is used to communicate with the E node B. So now we'll see what are the different layers in the radio protocol, what are the different layers in the coder protocol. So now we'll see more minutely. So that's called the low level design. So in LT protocol stack architecture, your UE, your LT UE protocol stack architecture is vertically divided into two planes, control plane and user plane. When you see the protocols, the layers which belongs to the control plane will handle only signaling part. The protocols which belongs to the user plane will handle only user's traffic information, because with the mobile you can do only these two types of information will be transmitted, either signaling or user traffic information. So in the control, so vertically it is divided into two planes, LT protocol stack architecture. LT UE protocol stack architecture. Is divided into two planes vertically and three layers horizontally. It's horizontally three layers, vertically two planes. So vertically I'm telling two plane, control plane, user plane. Horizontally we'll see there will be three layers horizontally, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So the protocol which belongs to the control plane, these two planes means what are those planes? That is the control plane and the user plane. Means C plane and the U plane. Means the protocol which belongs to the control plane will handle signaling information, means control plane protocol will handle signaling information. User plane protocol will handle user traffic information. Users traffic information. So in control plane we have NAS layer, RRC, PDCP, RLC, MAC, this. These are the different layers in your LTE protocol stack architecture. As I said, horizontally it's a three layers. So physical layer is known as the layer 1. This PDCP, RLC, MAC, all together is known as layer 2. This NAS and RLC is known as the layer 3. So this compare this low level design with the high level design. What I said, your UE protocol stack is having the two protocol, radio protocol and the coordinator protocol. So in low level design, we have to understand what are the layers working as a radio protocol, what are the layers working as a coordinator protocol. So your NAS layer, that is the coordinator protocol. This is the coordinator protocol. And the rest of all layers, this entire layers, is radio protocol. So radio protocol is used to access the RAN, means your EUTRAN, E-node, as we have seen in the high level design. And the NAS will be used to communicate with the MME. It's not accessing the RAN. So RAN is known as the stratum. So that's why this radio protocol access the stratum. So this entire radio protocol is known as the, with one popular name, AS, access stratum. And this NAS layer is not accessing the stratum, so it's called the non-access stratum. If you see this diagram, your NAS and RRC only in the control plane means only signaling. That's why if any of you have worked in the your optimization or any other industry in the protocol stack as well, so you will see every time there is a layer 3 message. You will never see the layer 3 data. Why? Because whatever layers in layer 3, they will handle only signaling information. No user traffic information will be coming to the layer 3. Because NAS and RRC belongs to layer 3, which will be in control plane only, means it will handle only signaling information. PDCP is the first layer which will carry your user traffic information. So whatever the layer 3 message is, higher layer message, that will be transmitted to the lower layer, means PDCP layer. PDCP will transmit those signaling to the RLC. RLC will transmit to the MAC. MAC will transmit physical. Then at last, physical will transmit over your interface. Same way, PDCP will transmit whatever user traffic information to RLC, MAC, and each layer will perform their task. That is our job during this course. Each layer's details we will see. And then at last, all those your signaling, higher layer traffic information will be transmitted over air interface. Still more details left in this protocol stack architecture. This is not completed. We'll continue tomorrow, but still more points that we have to understand. What are the different types of bearer within these layers? What are the different types of channels? How this protocol stack will communicate with the SIM card? So there are still so many explanations required in this protocol. So this is not completed. It will continue tomorrow. But tomorrow class will have the connection with the today's class. So please revise the today's class, go through the videos, and tomorrow will continue. Till here, anyone having doubt? I think I made it very clear. Neha, कोई doubt है? Any doubts? Okay, let's